So champion points on this. All right, let's take a look at champion points and talk abilities a little bit here.
All right.
I can't talk too much on Templar, Nightblade, or Sork because I focus mostly on DK.
Okay.
I can talk about what abilities annoy the hell out of me on those, especially in PvP.
Mm-hmm.
But let's start off with at least champion points and some of the major changes here. I don't want to go over into every nitpicky thing here, but
Okay.
we can at least get over to some of the important ones that are going to be done. So first off, in the Apprentice and Ritual lines, Elemental Expert has now been changed to Flame, Frost, Shock, and Magic damage. So that's 4 things that you're going to be using for magic. And Mighty has been changed to Physical, Poison, Disease, damage. Also should be noted that Thaumaturgy, which used to be for magic damage, has now been changed to effectiveness of your over time effects as well. So what are they basically doing on this? They're trying to make it so it's a lot more streamlined for the stamina builds and a lot more streamlined for the magic builds on this. Not sure how I feel about it though. I'll let you take your opinions on it first, Derpy.
I think that's a great change. If you are somebody that can't play a lot of the time and doesn't have like a ton of champion points, like before, if you were a magic build, especially, I feel like your points were kind of split a little thin. Like, say if you're a DK, because like a lot of your stuff does fire damage, but there are some abilities like in PvP that are going to use magic damage, so people would often like kind of spread their points a little too thin with that. So I feel like it's kind of rounding it all together, and it's making it like more bang for your buck, like more bang for your point.
Yep. Well, that I can agree with, but the issues I see with it on my end is, as a DK, for example, because DK is a good example, you take a look at our Ardent Flame line, Unstable Flame is still flame damage, and Burning Breath is still flame damage when we're using stamina. Which, again, that's not going to be improved.
Yeah.
That's not going to be improved by the ritual. This is a step in the right direction for Mighty, but either A, the ability needs to change, which I think Robo hinted at that like Burning Breath, for example, would be changed over to Poison Breath, which then would be affected by Mighty. That makes sense. Or, Talon's the same way. Or they need to basically make it so there's reason to go into the other paths with both sets here. The other issue I see with it is stamina builds are already kind of powerful, not just because of Mighty, but because of the passives on top. Using the, Opportunist, the next physical dash is 50% after you interrupt a target. You're going to be interrupting targets in PvP. That happens. Weapon critical, well, it has spell critical on that side. Exploiter, increase your damage against off-balance targets by 10%. Well, Wrecking Blow Spam is sending people off balance, right? So that's a guaranteed 10% plus the other one that you're looking at. And then Last Stand, I don't know if it's great unless you're a tank or not, but like the 20% with Major Heroism, that can be major in the right location. But when you take a look over on the Apprentice line here, you have Vengeance, which guarantees a spell. The next spell critical you block is going to be... next spell that you're going to have is going to be a critical hit when you block 3 spells within 10 seconds of each other. Is that good for your magic build?
Maybe if you're running Julianos, but I don't know. I don't think with...
When you're a magic build, you're going to be blocking 3 spells.
If you're a Templar or DK, maybe, because there are those builds that still walk around, and I don't know if it's an exploit or what, but they can keep a block forever.
Oh, I know exactly what that is. That's you pump your magic regen high. You pump up your cost reduction, your block cost reduction high, and basically you spam Earth and Heart abilities.
Okay, that makes sense.
Basically you lose your stamina recovery, but you up your magic recovery so you can keep on spamming those, and then it gives you stamina back because of it. Then you have Spell Precision, which is good. Then Foresight. Reduce the magic cost of your next spell by 80% when you drink a potion. Again, where is the damage on the Apprentice side? Where is the burst? That's
you don't really get any.
For
Magicka, no.
No.
That's a very good point.
And then Arcane Well gives you 20% chance when you kill an enemy to open Arcane Well. To restore 1,029 magicka to up to three allies within 2.5 meters of an enemy. I guess that's good. 20% chance when you kill an enemy. No cooldown. So if you're spamming enemies in an area, you have a chance to give back like 3,000 magicka, but
I've never even seen anybody with that.
yeah, and 2.5 meters, that's extremely small. They had to be really tight stacked.
But yeah, like right on top of it.
Yes. So, not good for most boss fights, not good for most PvP fights. And then the middle road here, the Atronach. There's stuff that's good in here. I don't know, retaliation, light attacks up by 30% when you block a heavy attack. At least you're only blocking one. Repertoires, that can be good when blocking. You have 50% chance to return damage to your attacker when you block a melee attack. That could be okay. Butcher, light and heavy weapon attacks are deal 5% extra damage when 25%. That's good. And then Tactician, set enemies off balance will successfully dodge roll at their attack. That can be good too. So that's some of the changes over on the mage side here. Also, I should also mention here the other thing they did change here. I like your opinion on this too. Melee weapon expert. So any light and heavy attacks from daggers, swords, and axes and maces. Staff expert. So any of your destruction line or restoration staff line. Shattering blows and increasing damage for your targets with the shield. And then bow expert. Light and heavy attacks with your bows. What do you think on those?
I like Shattering Blows. I think that's really good against Sorks. Like, I hate Sorks in PvP, especially, like, I think their shields are way out of whack. That's a whole nother conversation we could have, though. But I really like that change a lot. Because it kind of gives you a little more of an advantage when you're fighting one of them. As far as bow expert goes, I know, like, some people that rely on, like, heavy and light attacks with their builds and weaving and stuff. I think that's a nice change. Overall, I don't really have any problems or anything with those changes.
The only thing I see issues here is the melee weapon expert plus the bow expert. Disjointed, in my opinion.
It favors stamina a lot more.
Well, yeah, but basically melee weapon expert, right? That's your stamina build. And then bow expert is a stamina build.
Stamina build, yeah.
Then the staff expert is magicka build. So if you're a magicka build, you have one part where you may actually use this.
Yeah.
If you're stamina build, you have one or the other. But I mean, most people are going to go melee weapons. They're not going to bother with bow expert because bow is kind of still crap in the damage. I don't know.
I think unless you're specifically geared towards, like, a snipe build, which I think we're going to see a lot more of, like, with some of the upcoming sets, like, that's not really going to be, like, a big thing. Because you can, heavy attack into a snipe or vice versa with that passive.
Alright, so that's some of the changes there. Let's take a look over on the warrior side of things there. And the steed and all that other stuff. First thing we'll mention, medium armor focus is now a set physical resistance. Same as light armor focus. And same as heavy armor focus. And they're all the same amount of resistance.
So it's a flat...
It's a flat rate.
Rate now, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think on this, Derpy?
I never really used those passives before. I didn't really see them make, like, a huge difference, personally, like, in my builds, so I'm kind of neutral on that change.
To me, I don't like it because, well, I don't know. If you're using a heavy armor build, you're already gonna have high resistances most times, right?
Yeah, you can cap out your resistance really easily with heavy armor.
Yeah.
So there's really no point to put points in there.
Yeah, exactly. Is there any point to put in there? Now, in the light armor focus, right, you can put points in there, right? It's a flat rate. It's not a percentage anymore.
Yeah.
So it's good for those people that don't want to put any points into it, but at the same time, I feel like it's too overpowered because, like, shouldn't you be getting the amount of same physical resistance in light armor as you are in physical armor? doesn't seem right. But that also comes up to the fact that you can cap your heavy armor too easily.
Oh
Maybe
yeah, yeah.
maybe if it was harder to cap your heavy armor, then seeing that in there might make it a bit more make a bit more sense here. But all this does is basically make it so light armor and medium armor focus is going to be used for tank builds, and heavy armor is not going to be used at all. But heavy armor's always had that issue, I think.
Yeah, heavy armor has always kind of been like the redheaded stepchild of like all the armors. I think it's like you don't really use it unless you're like a trials tank or like a like a high-end dungeon tank, because you don't really have a reason to.
Yep.
Unless you're like min-maxing with undaunted passives, etc. But like even then, it's like, nah, I'm probably gonna get more benefits from like running an extra piece of light or something,
Yep. Now the other thing I think I see as an issue on this as well. This is only physical resistance. It's not any magic or spell resistance. Don't think you need to change that, but we can probably
there's no straight like magicka resistance.
There is magical resistance here, but there is nothing in here to increase spell resistance. Well, except for spell shield. Sorry, should take that back. Spell shield will, but that's only one line, and that doesn't require that you have 5 pieces of medium, light, or heavy. Right, and the reason I mentioned this though is because the next ability here that we're looking at is going to be Hardy and Elemental Defender. Hardy has now been changed over to poison, disease, and physical resistance dealt to you is now reduced. Instead of just poison and disease, it's also now physical.
Okay.
So, that ties into your armor focus, right?
Yeah.
Elemental Defender reduces flame, frost, shock, and magic damage by whatever percentage that you have. So that's going to reduce the magic damage, and Spell Shield, which is increasing your spell resistance, is also going to reduce that too. That's kind of those are 2 easy paths for that, like Elemental Defender plus Spell Shield if you're looking to get that. Hardy, but then since you have all these other armor focuses split up here, it's kind of like disjointed, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that. It is a little disjointed that way.
And you have to have those 5 up. I don't know. That's kind of off off balance in certain ways there. I don't think they changed a whole lot of passives here with that. But I don't know. I think that's a good change though. At least for Hardy. Hardy is now actually going to probably be used, especially when you don't want to get ganked by like Nightblades or something like that, and you're a light armor tank user. Like I can see honestly, a light armor user is just going to go light armor focus, Hardy, and then just go ahead and like take anyone on they want to inside PvP. That's your anti-gank right there.
Yeah, Bastion I think will be a big one too for like DKs and Sorks. That's Bastion. The effectiveness for damage absorbing effects. So your Iggy shield and then like your hardened ward.
Yes.
So like a lot of people are gonna probably pump points into Bastion, especially for PvP.
Yep.
And that also affects Barrier, even though Barrier is changed now.
Yes.
So it only hits 6.
yes. We'll get into those in a little bit here. And, don't think there's a whole lot of difference with some of these other ones here. I think they changed
I think they kind of left the other 3 alone, right?
Yeah, they left the passes alone pretty much here. And I think they changed quick recovery a little bit, increased the effectiveness of heals received. But that's nothing that was too major. They had it just in a different area, I believe, but I can't be 100% sure. And lastly, the Thief line. Take a look here. I don't see a whole lot that changed on this side here. Standard Magic Warlord and Bashing Focus. Mooncalf, Arcanist, Tenacity, and Health Recovery, or Healthy. Befoul, Tumbling, Shade, to reduce the stamina cost with Stealth, and Elusive. Fear, or Snare, Fear, Stuns, destroying effects by 0%. I think I really have to mention here is Shade right now is just not necessary, fortunately. I would never see a build that uses it. You get enough stamina recovery with using food drinks, and also using the passives that you get through Ledgerman. So if you have like full Legerdemain, you get like, I don't know, like 40% reduction on top of that. So I don't know, not a whole lot. So that's currently some of the changes, just an overview on some of the skill lines here, or not skill lines, the champion point lines that have changed here. More details on the forums and all that good stuff. There are a whole lot of people that can probably min-max a lot better, give you more information about it. But, you know, just figured we'd go over that real quick there. Now, do you want to talk abilities?
Sure, yeah, we can get into that.
A few things that have changed here, at least on the DK side I can mention. At least